Salute! What's up, guys? As BC sits here with one of his many morning coffees, I figured this would be the best time to go over the aftermath of all the pro wrestling we saw this weekend. From NXT's Great American Bash to AEW's All-In to Saturday night's Main Event to last night's Evolution. Wow, did we see a lot. Pretty much anything and everything across two separate companies and many different brands. The women's division, the developmental division, and the main roster of WWE and AEW. With their ROH talent finally shining like Athena on the main stage and Dustin Rhodes on the main stage. So cool to see. Last night I can easily say that was the best WWE product of the weekend. Great American Bash did not deliver for BC. Saturday night's Main Event may have somehow been worse. And Evolution, which was probably the event that was getting panned more than any other from the talent themselves. The women themselves were pissed off, frustrated, and actually voicing that frustration. The lack of build, the lack of care that seemed to be coming from the company. No urgency, no care. Trish Stratus talking about how it would have been cool if they didn't have such boring segments leading into Evolution. And it would have been even cooler if they had more than a week to build it. But Evolution was being panned by everybody, and it's justified. Then WWE's throwing it up there against Beyonce's concert and Major League Baseball's All-Star Week. It was clear that it was just not just a money grab, but just to compete and to flood out and to counter-program AEW. But lo and behold, when the weekend was done for WWE anyway, Evolution was the standout. They set the bar for pay-per-views going forward for WWE, not just for ladies. What the women did last night was they just set the bar. That's probably easily, I would say, the best WWE pay-per-view of the year thus far. Because from top to bottom, it was good. Or at least I saw no bad in it. BC was live with his amplified unit during the event. Top to bottom. Start to finish, BC was live. And even with the matchup that didn't really have any big news story coming out of it, which was the triple threat with Bayley and Lyra and Becky Lynch for the IC championship. Even that match, I just didn't see any holes in the game. No bad. So Evolution came and they absolutely knocked it out of the park, man. And you had an awesome no-holds-barred matchup. That was just so good. I don't think anybody was expecting that, especially Jade Cargill and her performances lately. But they let them do a little bit more, taking out steel chains and what they did with that and putting, Jade's eye into the leg of the table. Things like that, chucking toolboxes at one another. The really good glam slam through the Slim Jim table. Jaded. Just a lot of cool stuff in that matchup just for Naomi to rectify that wrong later in the night. And do the ultimate deed, cash in on Iyo. But even the Battle Royal, in getting some of the NXT shineouts, Jada Parker, Kalani Jordan. You got to see Nikki Bella out there. Lash Legend showed up and turned out in Atlanta. Man, it was just it was a good event. It's what WWE needed, but fans especially needed that. And the title matches, as I said, with Trish Stratus, man, falling short, that's what should have happened. But the ovation afterwards, what a moment, could very well be the final bow for Trish Stratus. What a way to go out. What a crowd reaction. What a performance at damn near 50 years old. I think, like as I said, I was live with my unit. My unit told me she's turning 50 in December, I believe, is what I was told. 50 years old. Looks like she gets younger by the day. Nothing over the top, but you put that in a pay-per-view, a premium live, where everything is clicking. Yeah, Trish and Tiffany delivered. But it was that main event, man. Iyo and Rhea. Their best work together by far. Nothing they did at WrestleMania, no triple threats, no one-on-ones, nothing compared to what they did last night. Takes two to tango, much respect to Rhea. But Iyo, as I said live many times on last night's stream, Iyo was Iyo Shirai last night, not Iyo Sky. I have not seen Iyo work to that level in a very long time. And that's the thing, that even with Iyo at 60, 70%, she's better than most female talents. That's why no matter what, she's going to go out there and you're going to go, damn, she's good. But when Io's rocking 90, 100%, not many can hang with her. That's what you saw last night. Check out her pacing. Check out that confidence. Check out the flawlessness. She was feeling it last night. That magic was in the air, and Iyo Shirai was back, even if just for one night. And Naomi, when it was all said and done, cashing in and defeating Iyo. They protected Rhea. Rhea was supposed to win this thing. But just like WrestleMania, when there was backlash to Rhea, and she cried her way in, and fans, even Rhea Ripley fans, said, this doesn't feel right. Iyo had all this organic momentum. So they did not put the title on Rhea. They extended it. Supposed to be last night. The original plan was Naomi going for Tiffany Stratton's championship. But the Stephanie victory in the Battle Royal kind of changed up things. And it's unfortunate. It looks like Naomi will be a transition champion, where Stephanie will defeat Naomi at Clash in Paris. That looks to be the case. But Naomi, with that shock cash-in, the heist of the century is what PC is calling it. Because nobody really did see that coming. We really did think Naomi was going for Trish. Actually asked my unit live. Everybody was thinking, no way Naomi's cashing in. But they protected Rhea Ripley. And Iyo takes the pin. And that's where a lot of fans are not too thrilled with that decision. I'll get to AEW in a little bit too, All-In, because I have a lot to say about All-In and the major props that I think people have to give Tony Khan. Even if you don't like Tony Khan, that's cool. That's your prerogative. And there may be a million reasons why. But I think we all have to give some flowers here. But we'll talk AEW in a few. But the reason that a lot of fans were happy for Naomi, for sure. If you follow this channel, you know how PC feels about Naomi. Her first title win. I say it all the time. It is a pat on the back, man. We started that movement on the channel because we saw how wrong it was. All these individuals are getting these pushes, and Charlie Flair is getting her 100th push, and Naomi can't even get a title. So yeah, we started a little bit of a movement. It actually caught on, and Naomi won her championship a few months later, and she thanked all of us. Not that it was needed. We were just happy that she went and did the deed, and WWE finally woke up. But it was only for a short amount of time. She got it back once more for a short amount of time. And now her third title victory. And it looks to be for a short amount of time. But we are thrilled for Naomi. What a moment. Had to watch it 3 or 4 times just to really take it in. Because again, the first time I was live and I'm really trying to comprehend it. So over another coffee or two, really try to get that moment. And how special that is for Naomi and the community and the pro wrestlers, her fellow pro wrestlers, man. Everybody is so happy for Naomi. Over 10 years in this company. And she has absolutely not gotten anywhere near what she has earned. Not deserved, earned. She's that good, man. One of, if not the most athletic female still to this day in that company. But her talent. Always showing up. I can't tell you how many times she's taken a significant time off during the year. Not a lot. Every year. Year after year, month after month, week after week. To that one time that her and Sasha Banks felt like they were just too disrespected. Not valued at all, and then they walked. But it's how it all went down, right? And I understand that. And this is what this whole show is about, the aftermath of these events this weekend. In the aftermath, while so many of the wrestling community, so much of the community is so happy for Naomi, justified. On the flip side, you got to remember, Iyo just dropped her title. She was the one looking up at the lights. Got bonked with a briefcase, absolutely. But she was the one looking up at the lights, and she was the one who held the title beforehand. And what a lot of fans are pissed off about is that she didn't really get a title reign, right? Oh, you have Iyo Sky done dirty is what people are saying. Well, that's absolutely what happened. That's for sure. That has nothing to do with Naomi. That's the booking. That's the creative. She was absolutely done dirty, but most champions are just belt holders in Helmsley's WWE. That's the sad truth. Most, if all champions are belt holders. They're not real champions anymore. They don't feel as such. They don't have prestigious reigns. There's no reason to look at one individual as a champion and somebody without a title any differently. In fact, in today's WWE, the champions are sometimes booked even more worse than the guy who can't even get on the card, or gal that can't even get on the card. Titles randomly change hands left and right on Raws and SmackDowns these days, not even on PLEs. The Judgment Day takes New Day's titles on Raw 2 weeks ago, even though New Day never defended, maybe once. They were never even on Raw with the titles. They finally have a title defense, they're losing, on Raw, mind you, to the Judgment Day. Judgment Day already had the titles. We already did that. With the JD McDonald's and Finn Balor holding the titles. They lost it. New Day has a good heel turn. It leads to nothing. They win titles at Mania against the Viking Experience War Raiders. Leads to nothing. Sit back in catering. Now you just have shiny toys with you at catering. And then on a random Raw 2 weeks ago, New Day just drops the championships. The Street Profits this week, this past Friday, they just dropped the championships to the Wyatts. In the middle of a SmackDown. If anybody is going to remember this Street Profits title reign or this New Day title reign, more power to you. All the best. Because most will not. Zelina Vega, she won the title. Maybe against Chelsea Green, I believe, a couple months ago. Middle of a SmackDown. She said she found out hours before the show that she was going to win the title. And then just a couple weeks ago, she loses the title also in the middle of a SmackDown to Julia. And she said she found out a few hours before. These are titles, man. These are champions. So that leads me to Iyo. And why a lot of people are upset with this. Iyo is striking a nerve more than others because of two main factors. Number one, she's incredible. As we aforementioned, she's one of the best pro wrestlers today. Male, female, it doesn't matter. You look at that performance last night, you're going to see something exceptional that's next level, top tier, personified. Number two, she has seen an incredible resurgence in fan reaction. Organically. Not with a machine behind her like a Charlie Flair or even a Rhea Ripley. No machine behind her. Giving somebody a title is not a machine, trust me. Look at Zelina Vega, Profits, New Day, and many others. It's not a machine behind you. But for the females, Charlie Flair, Rhea Ripley, they have mega machines. The rocket, ready to send them through the stratosphere. But Iyo has done it organically, quietly. How quiet? Look at her title reign and why people are upset about this. Again, nothing to do with Naomi. They're happy for Naomi. Puzzled by how Helmsley could book Iyo like this. She won that title on April 20th, WrestleMania. Night 2, correct? No title defenses until last night. I'll say that again. No title defenses until last night. She only had 3 matches until last night. 3 matches. One was a tag team match with Rhea Ripley on Raw. Tag team match. As a champion. Another was a draw on Raw against Stephanie Vakir. A draw with Stephanie. And then she had one victory, non-title, against Roxanne Perez, Roxy. And then she loses her title in her first defense. That's why people are upset. Because you have one of the greatest wrestlers right now today, and has been. And you see the performance she put in last night and what she's capable of. And the organic response, that momentum that she has gained by herself, no machine behind her. They give her a title, and they book her the same, if not worse. But the fans still show up and cheer. Something about Iyo. Many things about Iyo. But it's Iyo that, once again, you get shafted. We want to put the rocket behind Stephanie now. Stephanie V. We don't want her to pin Rhea Ripley. Rhea Ripley has to be protected. The only way we can go is if we have her face a heel. Well, Iyo and Rhea Ripley, this is face versus a face last night. But if we have Naomi switch over to the Raw brand, go for that title, we got a heel. Because Trish doesn't have one. Or Tiffany Stratton, I should say. Tiffany is going against Trish, face versus face last night. No real threat there. It would be Naomi, but Naomi going for Tiffany Stratton's title doesn't make sense because Naomi has the briefcase. So they back themselves into the corner, put themselves in a pickle. The lady with the briefcase, probably not the smartest idea to have her going for the title beforehand. So Naomi's in a title match with a briefcase. It's almost like if you win the briefcase, you're at a disadvantage because everybody else on the roster will get a title match before you. Especially if you wait a full year. I don't know. So Naomi couldn't even go for Trish, even though that's probably a way they could have went. The point is that they made this decision so that Stephanie can take out Naomi. It's pretty obvious. Iyo was the fall guy here, the fall lady. That's unacceptable. I don't care how much you're trying to protect Rhea Ripley. Rhea Ripley's got to take this L. It turns into a triple threat. This is your chance to protect Iyo for once. For once. Do the right thing, Hunter Hearst Helmsley, and protect Iyo for once. Rhea's been protected 1,000 times. It's not going to change anything. You don't have to protect. It's a triple threat. Instead of donking Iyo with the briefcase, bonk Rhea. She was thrown into the post, shoulder first, and not seen again. You could have bonked her on the dome piece. 1, 2, 3, look up at the lights. Rhea takes the L. Iyo, here's a crazy concept. Not only does Iyo not take the pin, Iyo loses her title. It's a triple threat. She got saved. She's protected in this. Iyo never lost her title straight up. It got turned into a triple threat. She was thrown into the post and taken out. And Rhea lost her title. Iyo saves face. What a concept, man. But no, again we save Rhea. And Iyo's got to look up at the lights. And it muddies the waters because now, here we are the next morning while everybody's saying, hey, we're so happy for Naomi, but damn, look what happened to Iyo. When if you just made one simple little twist, one plot twist, have Rhea drop it, then we could say, yeah, but Iyo didn't really lose that title, though. Simplistic. But that's how much this company will go. That's how far they will go. The lengths they will go to protect Rhea Ripley and Charlie Flair. I bring up Charlie all the time. Because just to get a rub of a good reaction, they're putting her with Alexa. Because Alexa Bliss is one of those ladies that came back at the Rumble, got a massive pop organically. Then they put her on the shelf. I don't think they like that. Brought her back, I think it was Elimination Chamber, something like that, and she got the reaction again. Or kept her off of Mania, then brought her back. She was still getting a great response. So what did they do? Because they were not happy that Charlie wasn't getting those responses. So then they put Charlie in this weird tag team with Alexa. So now, hopefully, fans will cheer Charlie Flair. They did this with Asuka several years ago, and that's when Asuka had the championship. It ended up being a detriment to Asuka. A month later, Asuka didn't have the title anymore. Charlie did. That's when Asuka was really over. So they tied her down. They weighed her down with an anchor called Charlotte Flair. It sucks to see, but that's how far this company will go to protect Charlie Flair, Rhea Ripley. It was the wrong decision last night to have Iyo take that pin. More than okay with the title switching over to Naomi. What a moment. I feel that part was done correctly, that decision to be made. You got to flip Rhea, and that's it. Rhea loses nothing from getting that pin. She got bonked with a briefcase. So that addresses that whole situation, why fans are really upset about how Iyo was booked with that title. If you guys are wondering why so many people are upset, that's why. She won this thing just a couple months ago at Mania and never defended it really. She had 3 matches on Raw. One was a tag team with Rhea. One was a draw against Stephanie V. And the other she beat Roxanne Perez. And then she just loses her title. Maybe if she was just an average pro wrestler, average skills, she was getting pushed, but no real fan reaction, and she became champion, she lost in a month or 2. No harm, no foul, no big deal. But Iyo Sky, different. In this massive resurgence in fan reaction, sometimes you got to read the room and call the audible. But for Naomi, I'll put the exclamation point on this conversation. For Naomi and Evolution in totality. For Naomi, salute. We've always backed her on this channel. We hope this is a successful, good, memorable title reign. Something tells me it's most likely a transitional situation where she will drop it at Clash in Paris. I think that's end of August, correct? I think SummerSlam is next, and then Clash in Paris, maybe end of August. So that'll give her a little over a month of a title reign. Can they do something memorable in that time? Will they call an audible and decide to lengthen this thing out? Over a decade, Naomi's been there. If you talk about deserves, like you deserve it. I hate that word because every time somebody wins a title, we yell, you deserve it. I can't stand that chant. Can't stand most of the chants. This is awesome for every single match last night. No, that was a good event, Evolution. Everything was not awesome. But we chant it for every match these days. But Naomi has more than earned everything she gets in this company. She's been there over a decade. This is only her 3rd title defense. Guys, to put that in perspective, the aforementioned Charles Flair, she has 14, and she's been there in less time. She came to WWE on that main roster after Naomi. She has 14 title reigns to Naomi's 3. That's what happens when one, because you ain't telling me Charlotte Flair is that much more talented than Naomi, if even more talented. Not at all. And if you're talking microphone, she's better, dude, it's robotic. She starts talking and people literally will turn away to Charlie Flair. She can play the heel character and carry the promo better as a heel. I understand that. But if it's robotic and nobody cares and they want to change the channel, that's an issue. But 14 titles to now 3? And she would have already had 15. But just like Rhea Ripley, there was a huge backlash when Charlie came back, instantly won the Rumble this year. Of course she was supposed to win that match against Tiffany Stratton. That's exactly. It was always supposed to be Charlie and Rhea winning those titles at Mania, night 1, night 2. They had no choice but to audible, because even more fans are standing up and going, that's enough, dude. 15-time champion. Is she going to get the 17 before John Cena? Thankfully, that wasn't the case. But that's what's happening, man. Charlie Flair was going for 15 this year. Thankfully, they had to halt that. And trust me, it's just halted. She will be getting 15 probably by the end of the year. And if they do decide to stretch it out because there's still that backlash, she'll be getting it by Mania. But this is just prolonging the inevitable. Charlie's getting that title just like Rhea Ripley's going to get the championship. But to have a 3rd title for Naomi, we'll take a moment to digest that and appreciate that, because this is somebody who has not gotten the rocket ever in her career. And this title victory is still not a rocket, not even close. I believe this was done for transitional purposes, but we're still going to take it, accept it, and appreciate it. But this is somebody who has not had that rocket. 3 title victories to Charlie's 14. That's the difference between somebody that has the rocket on them and somebody where the company decides is, take it or leave it. Swig of coffee, and I want to talk some AEW All-In, because wow, that was the first event this week where we said that's how pay-per-view should be done. So AEW All-In Texas, All-In 2025. For most pro wrestling fans that were able to catch every event this weekend, for many of us, AEW All-In was the event of the weekend. And I do feel that AEW has found the formula for how pay-per-view is supposed to be done, for professional wrestling anyway. And I do feel that they have taken the flag from WWE for pay-per-views, the leader in pro wrestling pay-per-view right now. Not numbers-wise. Totally understand buy rates and all that would go in favor of WWE. Much bigger company. Been around longer, bigger audience. But for the quality of event, AEW has absolutely become the leader in pay-per-views. If you have a WWE pay-per-view coming up and you have an AEW pay-per-view coming up, it's gotten to the point where you can bet on it now that AEW's pay-per-view will be better. Because it's happening time and time again now. It's not just All In. It was Double or Nothing just a few months ago. Usually AEW is just going to pop off a kick-ass pay-per-view. And it was no different this weekend. The vibe, the feel. It was not a sold-out stadium, but damn, you wouldn't have been able to tell. Based on the sound and the excitement and the energy and the amplification. And all the matchups, man, most, if not all, absolutely delivered. A lot of news story coming out of it. A lot of situations not just came to a culmination, but a lot of news stories popped off. It's everything you could have wanted. You had the returns, you had the individuals finally hoisting up titles that you've been rooting on for years, and you don't think you're going to see the day where somebody like Dustin's holding up gold again. Or Ember Moon, Athena. You had the returns, as I said, of Edge, Cope, or Darby Allin, or Daniel Bryan, Bryan Danielson. So plenty of returns. You had the straight up wrestling matches for those that just love just watching wrestling matches, man. You had Okada and Omega. Was it what they've done in the past, especially in Japan? Not even close. They've lost a step, Omega more so. But still, a genuine wrestling match where you can sit back, max, relax, and watch these two drop the facts. Mox, the storytelling. Everybody has been bitching for months about how Mox has to lose the title, and we haven't even seen the title. It's been locked away in the briefcase. But when Hangman beat Mox, and Hangman cracked the code to that briefcase, and he popped it open, and he took out that title, what a moment, man. That was the payoff. That's an epic moment you don't get if they don't prolong this Mox shit. Moné, everybody complaining. 75 belts, Moné. Roughly, slight exaggeration. But she has all these titles and she's running through the locker room and everybody's complaining and bitching. It was for that moment, man. Toni is the one to derail her. And what an epic moment. You don't get an epic moment like that if you don't run through people. And I say it all the time. Who's beating Mercedes? She's one of, if not the best female wrestler on the planet. If you're talking the Iyo Skies and or Iyo Shirais, you're talking Mercedes. Whether you like Mercedes or not, it's your prerogative. But you're not having Penelope Ford or Sky Blue or Jamie Hayter. They're just not beating her, man. You got to get to a bigger moment than that, a bigger situation. And it was Toni Storm, and it was All In. And you had those ultimate payoffs all in this event. I'll go as far to say, and this is probably be a hot take, but I mean these words vividly. All In was more of WrestleMania than WrestleMania was WrestleMania this year. AEW All-In was more of a WrestleMania. It delivered as a WrestleMania would or should. This year's Mania couldn't light a candle to this All-In. This year's All-In was everything that we were hoping WrestleMania would be. And we knew when the whole season was derailed. We knew when there was nothing going on for the build to WrestleMania. And everybody, this is the first time where I saw the whole community start telling Hunter Hearst Helmsley, dude, what are you doing? You're dropping the ball big time. And what was his response? Remember what he said? No, if you don't like it, you're not a real fan. Fuck off. People were like, what do you mean? We're trying to tell you this doesn't feel like WrestleMania. Sure enough, WrestleMania goes on. It goes off. People are not happy. People are not happy at all with how WrestleMania finished, especially. And then Helmsley went to that little comedy gig after Mania was all over with, 1, 2 a.m. in the morning to wrap up the weekend. He showed up on stage. He was getting booed because a lot of fans were not happy. They spent thousands of dollars on this multi-day event. And they feel they did not get their money's worth. And do you remember what Helmsley told them? This is the paying audience, not just the fans at home that are complaining. The audience that was there at the comedy show, many of them came from the stadium, showing their displeasure. And Helmsley told them to fuck off if they didn't like it. It's wild. And I say it all the time. That's why ratings are going backwards and everything in WWE. Because when you tell your consumer and your audience, people paying you money to fuck off, don't be shocked when they finally do. That's why Netflix just saw its lowest Raw rating or Raw number since they started in January. SmackDown, USA Network, they just got their lowest rating in show history, 1.1. 1.1. Holidays, national championships, you can come up with any excuse in the world. The fact that it was even near 1.1 to begin with is the biggest issue. But that's what happens when you tell your fans to fuck off. Meanwhile, this is what I mean. Even if you don't like Tony Khan, sometimes you got to give flowers, right? This is a dude who was it? It wasn't Shirakawa, was it? Somebody came back and they switched up their music. And during the match, Tony Khan got word that a lot of fans were not happy. And people were like showing him social media, like, dude, this ain't good. Maybe in the future we'll change it back. And Tony's like, no, right now we change it back. And by the time the match was over, the music had switched up to the old music. I wish I remembered who that was. I want to say Shirakawa, but I'm not sure. But it was wild, man. I'm like, just because the fans said, hold on, we like this better. And he said time and time again, Tony Khan said, we don't switch everything up just on the drop of a hat every time somebody doesn't like something. But if I'm kind of feeling wishy-washy on something and then the fans also back how I'm feeling and my gut feeling, I'm switching it up. It's one of those things, man, where I'm just using WrestleMania as an example. Like, that's something that unfortunately has become a money grab. This is something that we all looked forward to every year, man. It's the most fun weekend of the wrestling year, of the whole calendar year. It's WrestleMania week. The build, we start talking about the build to Mania right after Survivor Series. We don't even wait to the Royal Rumble. But what it's become is just a money grab. And we want to say it's just TKO, right? Helmsley's just in the middle of it. No, Helmsley is just as much a part of TKO than anybody. Helmsley is a part of TKO top tier. Arm in arm with Nicholas Khan. It's a money grab. They want to put in the most minimal of effort and get the most amount of money. So they have pimped out WrestleMania, guys. That's what's happened. WrestleMania has been pimped out. Make it a second day. They'll make it a third day. They'll give you the least amount of effort. There'll be no build, no creativity, no real storylines. They'll get the show over with, and they'll go right back to Vegas because they know that's where they're going to make their most money. The whole part of WrestleMania is where's it going to be next year? A lot of people make these trips and they make vacations, and every year is a different one, right? Every 3, 4, 5 years, they might go back to another location, the same one that was there 5 years ago. That's happened several times. But not back to back because it's a quick money grab. Vegas will give them the money that they need. And it's sad to say that WrestleMania is a money grab like everything else in this company. So yeah, when you see All-In in the event that they produced, it's pretty cool to see wrestlers and everybody having fun again. It's pretty cool to see them trying new shit and everything is not formulaic and they truly want to outperform one another and put on the best show collectively. And in WWE, you just see, you feel the formulaic vicious cycle. You just see it, and it leaks down into the performers. A lot of them today, it's unfortunate that they're happy to be collecting a fat paycheck. A fat paycheck. So they'll show up and they'll play video games all day until they're ready to perform. They'll be more than happy to sit in catering. They don't want to ruffle any feathers. Creative is not that at all. Everything is moment to moment, and you see that, man, when you see WrestleMania go on the air, when you see Saturday night's main event this past Saturday. Why do you think I'm not talking about Saturday night's main event? What do you want me to talk about? The biggest news story was somebody getting injured. All the best to Seth Rollins. It sucks. That's it. Other than that, Goldberg had a retirement match. He goes to give his speech. They cut it out. You know what a lot of fans are trying to say that protect Helmsley? Because Helmsley can do no wrong to some individual. It was NBC that cut it, not Helmsley. And it was 8-10. Of course, NBC has to go into their next show or their news. That's not NBC's fault. That's a time management botch. That's Hunter Hearst Helmsley. You're putting on a commercial at 9:55, coming back at 9:59, and you're giving this dude 59 seconds to give a speech that he clearly needs 10 to 15 minutes for. Helmsley screwed up. Nobody needed to see medium-sized Jimothy Uso versus Solo Sikoa. SmackDown match. Nobody needed to see Jelly Roll knocking out Logan Paul. But Helmsley loves his celebrities, and he really feels like that's going to bring in eyeballs. Well, how that's working out for you? All these celebrities, these last several months especially, and ratings are going backwards at an alarming rate. Who would have thunk? People just actually want to see a good wrestling show with the wrestlers, the performers, and epic storylines, and becoming larger-than-life characters with creative that we care about and puts us at the edge of our seat. Who would have thought? We don't need much respect to Jelly Roll. But we don't need Jelly Roll. We don't even need Logan Paul to grace us with any time that he has off to give us a wrestling match. We don't need a Travis Scott. We don't need a Tyrese Halliburton. We don't even need my boy Brunson. Because you know that's what we're getting in the future. We're getting Halliburton with a tag team partner versus Brunson with a tag team partner. We don't need the sports celebs or celebs straight up. We don't need it. Pro wrestling fans have told you time and time again, that's not what we need. We just need you to give a shit. WWE, their pay-per-views, their premium live events are not premium. They suck. There's no care put into it. It's a quick money grab. It's clear they can't wait to get it over with so we can get to the next one. And that's why you're starting to see 2 to 3 a month. You go from Night of Champions, that was just a couple weeks ago. You got SummerSlam coming up, then Clash in Paris. No time to build anything, and they don't care. Because each one means more money getting pushed into the bank accounts. So yeah, All-In felt different, didn't it? Because for Tony Khan, it's not a money grab. He's more than willing to spend more money on stuff like music, which is a huge part of pro wrestling, the music. And if it's going to enhance the show, he'll spend a lot of money to get the rights to certain music. But they're having fun. That's what you got. I caught every single event this weekend. And one thing I saw with AEW's All-In is everybody was having fun. You could tell everybody wanted to just put out their best effort and just try to steal the show. And they were all just enjoying the moment, the night, the situation they found themselves in. That's contagious, man. To the live crowd and to everybody watching. I used to watch WWE pay-per-views like that. They gotta remember, if you're gonna call it premium live, make it premium. These are special events, make them special. And yes, people are still paying for it. These streaming services, a lot of fans would not have these streaming services if not for the WWE pay-per-views. A lot of fans are not going to get Peacock if it wasn't for WWE. I say it all the time. I never go on the Peacock streaming service for anything unless there's a World Wrestling Entertainment event on. So they are still paying for it. Just $5, $10, $15, $20 a month now. So much cheaper. And because of that, and because WWE has already gotten their money from NBC Universal Peacock and Netflix, they feel like they don't have to give us anything more. They already made their money. But if they're not careful, Netflix has an opt-out in 5 years, so they might not go the full 10 years. And I'm telling you right now, they're definitely going to opt out. I'll take it a step further. I believe Netflix is going to find a legal loophole and get out before 5 years. Before the opt-out. Because they're going to see that they're not holding up their end of the bargain. WWE has become complacent, and they're no longer even putting in effort. Netflix is seeing the lowest numbers imaginable. They never thought they would go that low this quick. And if they start listening to fans, and we're telling you, dude, there's no effort being put into it, Netflix will absolutely get out of this deal somehow. Netflix is known for dropping shows that are popular and pulling in a sizable audience. But if they feel it ain't right, they'll get out of it. So yeah, AEW All-In is being called the event of the weekend for many reasons. First and foremost, you could make the easy argument it was literally the best show. But the feel, the vibe, the energy, the effort, the creative. AEW checked off every single box. You ain't got to be a fan of AEW to agree with that statement or like that statement. But if you watch the show, you can't argue it. Saturday night's main event, Great American Bash. Evolution was able to pull up to that bumper of AEW All-In. I don't think there was enough to actually beat All-In. But I tuck Evolution right in that number 2 spot. That's how good Evolution ended up being. All those ladies went out there and knocked it out of the park. Home run after home run after home run. Maybe a couple triples, right? The triple threat with Bayley, Lyra, and Becky. Maybe that was a triple. A battle royal, a double or a triple. Other than that, a lot of home runs. But All-In really knocked it out of the park. Grand Slam. No pun intended, because they have an event called Grand Slam too, which is better than most WWE events. That's the problem. Most of us, we started watching wrestling because of WWE. Most of us. WWE is what got us into pro wrestling, right? Stateside anyway. So we want to see it succeed. Doesn't matter if there's a Vincent Kennedy McMahon running it, a Hunter Hearst Helmsley is running it. Doesn't matter if Shane McMahon was to be running it. It doesn't matter if Santino Marella or Tozawa was running WWE. We want to see it succeed. But it's sad to see what the pay-per-views have become. The weekly shows, everything has become. But the pay-per-views is what we're talking about. This is the aftermath of this weekend's slate of pay-per-views. And it's sad that we have to be going, wow, Evolution, man. We actually got a good premium live event. Like, people are actually shocked we got a good premium live. And on top of that, it was the all-women's event that had zero build whatsoever. We shouldn't be shocked because we get a good premium live event. That's a problem. And that's what WWE has to go back to the drawing board on. Make your premium live events premium. If it's a special event, make it seem, make it feel as such. AEW did awesome this weekend. But they always do. It's translating that into their Wednesday shows and getting people to stay on, stick with them consistently. That's what they fail on doing. And that's, I think, that's a microcosm of the grander situation, which is pro wrestling right now. Despite what Cody Rhodes and The Rock and so many others want to tell you, it's not as hot as it once was. And because it's the lack of consistency. You get a weekend like this, which puts a pulse to the pro wrestling world. But then the companies fall off right after. If we can get a string of consistent weeks and months, we can truly get wrestling hot again. And, high tides, they raise all ships. WWE really has to get their act together. I believe when that happens, if it happens, AEW will benefit greatly. But I do feel like when WWE is struggling and they're seeing numbers go backwards at an alarming rate, Raw, SmackDown, merchandise, you name it, it's going backwards. And because WWE doesn't have their shit together, I do feel that trickles down to companies like AEW. Even if AEW is putting out a better product, right now, I think the best thing for AEW is WWE putting out a good product. Problem is, Helmsley seems incapable to do that. For one night last night, though, man, they pulled it off. Can there be any momentum to come from that? We find out in just a few hours. Monday Night Raw. Small chance I can be live with you guys beforehand to go over the card, talk the aftermath of this weekend, get you guys set for Monday Night Raw. There's a small chance, so subscribe, notified. Obviously, if I can go live, I definitely will later this evening. But there's a lot of business to attend to, a lot of coffee to drink, and a lot of ass to whoop. So that's what we're going to do now. Until next time. And there will be that next time. This has been your aftermath show of all things pro wrestling this week, and there was a lot. 5 reviews in 2 days on the channel. Everything is up. Uploads, live streams, you name it. BC had you covered. All right, until next time, and there will be that next time. 44 Dive, that's a wrap. BC and the Amplified Unit. We're saying check you. Salud.